Three, two. Oh wait, I think we already started. Well, whatever. All right, hey guys, this is Kit of Burn One with the Shadowverse Evolved channel. Always joined here with Dean, and this is
And
episode 6. We have a special guest here, Shinto. Shintoverse is his. What exactly is your blog name? It's just like Shintoverse.wordpress or yeah.
yeah, Shintoverse.wordpress.
And if you, if you weren't around during the Japanese time of the game releasing, you might not know Shinto. But if you're on the Discord itself, you've probably seen his WordPress blog posted a million times there. I think they even have a command, right, to if you type like exclamation meta or something like that, it brings up your meta list during the early days of Booster Set 1 and so forth. And he has been a very big stepping stone for a lot of people getting into the game for the first time, especially when it was only JP and now English as well. All the players have seen his content out there, and we are lucky enough to have him here on as a special guest. So, yep, Shinto here. Is there anything else you want to say about yourself, I guess? Or did we cover
First of
everything?
all, I say I'm honored by all the good words that you put in. I think I'm just a normal guy, running a just a normal blog for people. I'm glad that people find it useful, and I hope this Shadowverse Evolve can become a great thing, because I've been playing Shadowverse for very, very long, and I hope Shadowverse don't die, as a game as a whole.
Yeah, me too. I think it's been doing very well since the English release, at least in our areas. I'm not sure about your area because I know you guys also still play like the Japanese version of the game, right, over there.
I mean, right now the Japanese community is very small here in
Hmm.
Singapore, but the English is picking up, and for the short qualifier, we have always a full 32 players for
Oh,
our
that's
short
very good.
qualifier. So it seems that our English are doing very, very well at the moment.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. It's always interesting to hear about other people's scenes because we talk to our friends from in Canada and stuff, and their scene is always like either it's like dead or super alive. It's never in between, so it's always interesting to hear about everyone's scene around the world. Um, but yeah, so I guess first thing we'll just ask you a couple things here. Like, what is your like card game background? I assume you've played stuff before Shadowverse Evolve, and I assume you played, or I guess we talked a little bit, but you did play the digital, and you probably still do play the digital, right?
Yeah. So basically, my background would be I played most of the card game, other than from Bushiroad. So basically, Battle Spirit, Yu-Gi-Oh, Shadowverse, Hearthstone, Westeros a bit, and right now, Shadowverse Evolve. Um, yeah, I mean, been playing for very long casually, but as for playing competitively, I mean, I've started out about 5 6 years ago only. Yeah, so I'm still quite new to the competitive scene in terms of card game.
Oh, that's nice. I think when did I start playing like super competitive? It had to be like about 10 years ago. I started playing super competitively. I don't know about yourself, Dean.
Ooh.
Just card games in general, I guess.
I mean, is being a Johnny playing competitively?
I don't know where you
Like,
entering.
like,
Like,
well, because right, it's this thing where like I got deep into card games. I was grinding them out, but I was like the kind of guy who was like sitting there in the lab, like making the dog shit decks that like you're trying to get the good YouTube replays for. Like, right, I'm like the guy who's like sitting there like, oh man, if this deck can just get one win in 10 games, it's gonna be hype. So it took me a couple of years to fully transition to being like, super competitive. I'd say like 26, no, probably around 2014 is when I started to play more. So yeah, about 9 years.
oh yeah, so about the same time for both
But I
of
spent
us.
about 2 years. I spent about 2 years, I mean, you still know that I'm the guy who will randomly be like, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah, every time you talk, it's either the most spiciest thing ever or the most dog shit thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, but yeah, that's cool. So we've all kind of been around the same time playing competitively and just getting card games in general. Um, But yeah, so next we're going to talk about our local scenes. Dean and I will go through our stuff really quick because it's going to be shorter this week since we're recording this a lot earlier for you guys. Um, so I guess, do you want to go first, Dean? Because I think you had a qualifier.
Yeah, so my one locals this week, it was a shop qualifier. Only one person can stand at the top. We had a 10-man. It was pretty funny because 10-man means 4 rounds of Swiss into a top 8. Which is felt really funny. I went 3-1 in Swiss, with my one loss being to the Swordcraft player that we may know, Ellis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was on our earlier videos.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. We had like a 15-turn game. I'll look forward to that replay. It was insane. After that, it was I felt like that one loss was pretty rough. But after that, I felt like it was a lot easier on my matchups. Because we had some new players too, because we're always trying to get new people in, and just because it's a qualifier, we're not going to let them not play. But then in top 8, it was rough. I managed to win my first game, but then my second game, I fight Ellis again, and this time, I played Dirt Room, by the way, if you didn't know. And I could not close it out. So, Ellis ended up actually getting first at the shop qualifier. He got his invite. I have one more chance to go to a regional. There's only one store left in Indiana that actually has a regional qualifier. So, your boy, he may not make it. He may be eating dirt. It's kind of my fault. I played dirt, right? What was funny about that top 8 cut, though, was our 4-0 at the end of round 4 immediately lost to, like, the 8th seed. He like fought like aggro. He fought like aggro abyss, and like it just didn't matter. Like the ghost fucking smacked him and he died. Like
I do be like that sometimes against abyss.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. I don't think like it was the exact same deck that we did the deck profile on. The only difference is I put a 1 of Gilgamesh in there. I forget what I don't even remember what I cut. I just said like 6 storm damage, insane. He came up. He actually won me one of the games, but he didn't. You don't see your 1-ofs that often, so
yeah. Is that it for this week for you?
Yeah, I don't think there was like a lot that really went on. I mean, other than that, yeah, I guess I have to try harder. I got some footage. We got some good games. I'm gonna slice them up. Probably do some commentary with Kit.
Yep.
Look forward to those.
Good. Yeah. All right. For myself, I actually went to 2 qualifiers. One today and one the day before. The one I did the day before, I don't even want to talk about it. I just ate shit the entire qualifier. Like I got there and I had all my decks. Went there straight after work because it was a long drive to get over there because there's a lot of traffic. And when I was sitting there, I was like, do I play Dragon and don't have to think as hard, or do I play Haven and hate myself because I know I'm gonna just eat garbage? And I sat down and I was like, you know what? I'll play Haven one more time because I went 4-2 at that other qualifier and barely missed top 8. So I was like, I'll try Haven again here. Proceeded to play 3 sword players and got super aggroed out by all of them. And I was like, well, this Haven was not the choice here, unfortunately. So I ate crap that event. But the event I went to today was really great, actually. I was just like, I'm done touching Haven. I need to stop gaslighting myself into playing Haven, and I'm just gonna play Dragon and not care. So this place, I forgot the exact number of players. I think it was like around 20 or so players at this one for this qualifier. And it was going to be either a 4 or 5 round depending on the pair up and pair down. On round 4, if the pair down wins the game against the pair up, then they would cut at 4. So I actually went 4-0 during Swiss, which was very nice. Every game felt very good. I don't know. I was just playing very well, and I was like top decking the perfect things whenever I needed it, which was really great. It was really annoying because like I got there early, and then I had another friend there too, and we were talking. He like walked around the room and looked at everyone. He said there's a ton of sword players there, and like he was not kidding. I think our top 8 was 4 swords, 2 dragons, 2 haven for top 8, and I think there was like probably at least like 8 like sword players there. There was just a lot of sword players, and so my rounds for my 4 rounds, I played into Sword round 1. I won that one. Sword round 2. I won that one. And then I played Haven, won that one, and played Haven again. I was just like, what are these games? I hate this game. So yeah, went undefeated in Swiss, which is really cool. And then they actually did. We still don't have the promos, the snipe promos. So for pricing, they did it so top 8, based on your placing after the Swiss rounds, gotta come up and pick out of like these 8 like high rarity cards they had for Shadowverse Evolve. And I didn't know until literally after that round. I didn't know I was playing for like actual pricing. And I ended up getting a Jean Ultra Rare or whatever they're called, the U's, which is insane. Everyone was like, "Congratulations to your $100, kid." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "They're giving out free cards for the thing, and you're the only XO, so you get to pick first." And I was like, "Oh, this is the easiest pick of my life. I'm gonna pick this Jean." Like, so that's
Card looks beautiful.
It is very beautiful. But then, you get the XO curse. I go into top 8 and I play the guy I played round 1, and it was a sword again. I don't know why, but this place. Okay, first of all, of course, the only qualifier I went to that I actually XO in is the one where they actually do top 8, because for whatever reason the stores out here have been very wonky about running the events properly. So we go into top 8, and they say whoever's the higher seed in the top 8 gets to decide who goes first or second, which was like, what? Okay, sure, whatever. That's what we're doing, I guess. And without thinking, I'm on Dragon, so I'm like, I'll just go first because I'm playing Dragon. Why wouldn't I? And then I was like, drawing my hand, and I realized like, oh crap, I'm playing against Sword. I actually don't play a lot of board clears until like later, and so I was like, crap, I should have gone second this game, because if I'd gone second, I would have been 100% fine. But it is what it is. I go first instead, because I kind of want to keep them off like turn 3 Floor Fencer Evo, because then that gets really awkward for me to clear, since I don't play any like board wipes until way later in the game. So I'm playing, and this other misplay. This is the actual main misplay that 100% cost me the game. I don't know what I was thinking in my brain. I'm an idiot. Every time I look back at that turn, I'm like, I even told myself exactly what I should have done, and for some reason my brain was like, it'd be really funny. What if we just threw the game right now? I had Bellringer out on the board, and they played Fervid Soldier, and I was like, oh, I just Evo Bellringer, kill Fervid Soldier, and in my brain that's what I was supposed to do. And then instead, for some reason, I looked at my hand and I was like, oh, I have the Dragon Breath thing. I'll just use that. And I used it. And as soon as I paid and used it to remove a Fervid Soldier, I was like, oh no, that was a huge misplay. Hopefully it doesn't screw me over later. And because I wasted that breath, like a couple turns later, I ended up taking a 5 to the face when I shouldn't have. And that basically put me in range to like forever, like, be in this limbo of like I could die at any moment. And so I just ate crap after that. I did my best to like try to stabilize and ward up and force them to make weird trades. It wasn't good enough, because if I had that one, I would have saved 5 life, which would have made the game more comfortable for me, and maybe I could have played a little bit differently on the board. But from there, they kind of just aggroed me out, and I was like, crap, well, GG, like, it is what it is. But yeah, I was very at least satisfied going 4-0 and then going into top 8. I'm pretty sure if I didn't make that misplay, at least with the breath, I had a very, very good shot of winning. Because at that point, I was literally like a turn or so off from being able to like completely stabilize and just like be like Shenlong Evo, and take control from there. But yeah, it was really rough after that. But that is it for my locals. I think I have 2 more qualifiers coming up in the next like 3 or 4 days. So I'll probably try to go to those. I'm very lucky to be in SoCal, where like I could just like, mess around for the first few qualifiers, and then I have a lot of extra qualifiers at the end where I can just get really sweaty and start playing Dragon and Sword and stuff like that. But enough about me. Shinto, why don't you tell us about your local scene? Like, introduce it to us completely, because we have no idea what Singapore is like for their scene at all. So if you want to let us know what's up.
I just want to ask first, right? Because I heard you've been talking about your meta. I'm just curious, how does your meta reflect completely against the Japanese meta, like in terms of ratio for the class and the craft? Do you guys really see more dragons or more sword? Does the number match, or it's just very random where players pick their own favorite classes, and then your locals will depend on what their favorite classes are, or if there's a class community. Like for us, we had a sword community for a while because sword was very broken in BPO2. So for what do you all have?
You want to go first, Dean?
Oh, yeah. My locals, like I said, it's like 10 people, and we're still getting new people in. And so it's kind of just like whatever people have at the moment. Like there's people that only bought a single class, so they just bought a random trial deck, and they're like, "Oh, this is my deck." As like I think, as progression happens and we have more time, like probably after set 2 comes out, that'll probably change. But at the moment, I think that my locals isn't a good reflection, because like we don't have a lot of players. Some people, they just borrow decks from me and like the other people, right? That don't even have decks. So some people don't even have their own deck. They're still just getting a feel for the game. So really, I shouldn't be answering this question. I think this is Kit.
Well, I mean, yeah, America is so huge, so like, the meta is so different everywhere. Like we argue with some other people like on the other side of the country, like they have like crazy takes that we just like, what? Like for example, there was one local person who was actually arguing of like considering taking out Dragon Oracle from their deck, which was, I thought, was insane. So yeah, that was my response as well, Shinto. But so I live in one of the major hubs for like Bushiroad card games in general and card game players in general. Like Southern California is huge. We have hundreds and hundreds of players at a lot of different stores. So depending what store you run into, the meta kind of shifts a little bit. Right now, it seems like a lot of people really love Sword. We're kind of like, I feel like at this point, we're either, depending the local we go to, it's either going to be very heavy Sword, and there's actually some locals here that get very heavy into Haven for whatever reason. I don't know what happened, but like a lot of people jumped onto the Haven train, and like they really love the deck. And I've seen a couple different ways to build it. I think a majority of people play kind of like the control version. One person that locals that I talk to with a lot, Presha, who also watches this and stuff, he has more of a follower based like pressure for how he builds Haven, and he's been very successful with it. So yeah, it's very weird. I know initially when the game first came out, like the first 2 weeks, it was very heavy. Everyone was just playing Dragon because everyone knew from the start that like Dragon was probably the best craft to be playing. I think mostly your fault, Shinto, because everyone just saw your stuff.
Yeah, I'm the guy who, once I top my tournament, I'll share my deck list and just watches the chaos ensure in front of me.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of people on Dragon early on, but I think from then, a lot of people, like myself included, I was like, I'm tired of playing the Dragon Mirror. So we just like, a lot of people jump to different things. A lot of people jump to Sword. Like I jumped to Sword for quite a while. I really like Sword still. It's probably my favorite class to play. But I've been playing Dragon lately again because I need the easy brain deck for myself to win my qualifier. But yeah, so it feels like it's been going back and forth between like heavy Sword and heavy Haven craft for whatever reason in my area. It's been pretty interesting. I think it's probably pretty similar. Probably not pretty similar to Japan, I think, or your locals. I guess kind of Sword heavy is a thing. What was the other thing? Also, it seems like recently too, like in my area and I guess other places too, a lot of people have been jumping to Dirt Rune, like very, I don't know why. Maybe they just all were D-shift players and they were like, they realized that when your opponent like passes turn with like 8 mana up and they're like have 2 executions in hand, they can't win the game. But what about you, Shinto? Like during booster set 1, did you guys have like that many Rune players that played Dirt, or was it just like mostly Sword, like you said?
Oh, for us is a lot of dragons. A lot of nightmare. Sorry, abyss for you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, abyss. Some sword. And then we have just a couple of rune players, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a very competitive tournament, it's mostly dragon and D-shift rune. So that was our um that was our ratio, I guess. I think that rune, right? It might be due to rhythms. One of my local friend here, who was playing that rune, and
Mm-hmm.
he found that Dirt Rune is very underrated in the second set against Sword. So maybe that's the reason why Dirt Rune is starting to gain some popularity. But in Singapore, for English wise, a lot of players are blindly following my own meta list, which I purposely put there is a skeleton deck because for one, I do not believe in giving up the deck fully for people to copy because you know after so many years of teaching people how to play the game, I mean, not in Shadowverse, but other card games. They usually come back to you telling you, "Oh, I tried your deck, it didn't work, etc." So I give up on giving you the full list. I give you the base skeleton with the package, the main package, and I want people to go and try and figure out how to tune the deck to their own playstyle. Because, in my opinion, playstyle mentality is a very huge factor in deck building and playing. So for example, if let's say if the person play very defensively, a tempo type of play style, it'll be good if he try to drag the game later on, and later on he will play bigger followers. But if he's very aggressive, straight up from the start, put in all the small drop, ensure that he hit the mana curve well, and he'll have a good game. So that's why if you guys are reading my old article and wondering how come my deck skeleton looks a bit different, it's mainly because of that, and also because I was still new to the scene. I was still trying to figure out what's the scene like because Singapore we didn't start very big as well. We have about 20 players. Compared to Japan, they have about 100, 200 players. So my meta analysis, I was also new to it, so I could be wrong. So always read the source, try to refer to other sources as well and try to compare and see if, is it correct, is it wrong, and then have your own opinion on it. It doesn't mean that whatever you read is always correct.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I know like Dean and I don't know how much Dean, but definitely I used a lot of your skeleton stuff to test things out early on, and I quickly changed the deck like completely from your skeleton list. But it was a very good jumping off point because it highlighted very much what like each class kind of did and everything. So it definitely helped me a lot. I'm sure it helped a lot of other players out as well. But yeah, so yeah, but what else about your local scene? I don't know how recently you've been playing or anything because I know I don't even remember if we talked about it now or it was before we started recording. But you were saying like a lot of a lot of people are getting into the English game there and everything. So what are your locals have been like?
I mean, it's been doing well for English, just that Japanese, some of the players have decided to change. And meanwhile, it's kind of like cooling period for us because 1 month before the new set comes, most of player they will cool down, to stop themselves from burnout because essentially the meta there isn't much player playing and
Mm-hmm.
the meta just doesn't change. So when there's not enough people, the meta doesn't evolve. You burn out quite fast. So right now is our cooling month period. IMAS will come out, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's today or next weekend. So people are waiting for the IMAS, and Japanese players, I think we'll go back about 15 players again for
Mm-hmm.
tournaments, and then you'll start to see the decline. Meanwhile, for English, it's still going very strong. Though I've yet to try to mingle in with the English community because I haven't have my English deck yet, and they're about to end their short qualifier. So I guess I'll be missing out this short qualifiers for this time as well. And I guess the main problem for me right now to get to English is the card prices for English and JP is very hugely different. It's kind of making me thinking twice if I should invest in English or not at the moment. Yeah.
Makes sense. Are the prices over there like really insane? Our prices here in the beginning got kind of wild, but we've kind of stabilized, and most things now are fairly cheap. Most of like competitive decks are like around 100 or less US dollars. The most expensive one that actually hits $100 in USD is Dragon, and that's if you like buy a bunch of Lucifers with it right now. But if you play without Lucifer, it probably sits about $100. I think everything else has been way cheaper than that. I haven't been following prices too closely, but it feels like most competitive decks here are like 60 USD. Like, how crazy are the prices in Singapore?
I mean, we follow you guys in TCG players, but the thing is, Japan cards are a lot more cheaper compared to the English card. Like if we compare with because we follow JP, we follow Yuyute. If you compare Yuyute and the TCG prices, then and right now, English seems to be more expensive. I think it's also due to some factors like English boxes price is higher, and you all have all these shipping taxes, etc.
Oh yeah.
Especially for the all the friends at Euro, they are complaining about their taxes. Yeah, so when I come from JP, I was like, oh, $50 I can make a deck. Then when I see 100 USD for a deck, it kind of like mind blown me for a moment over there. So right now I'm not financially secure, so I'm trying to be responsible with my finance at the moment. So I'm been thinking of I mean it's been tempting, but I'm still hoping the price will drop a bit more before I start going in. And kind of wanted to let the new players to play on their own first, before I come in and be unfair. So basically, let them have their fun, maybe up to set 3 when they change the Uma set.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Exciting. Oh man. So I have another question too, I guess, about your scene. So I know you guys, like you've been saying, you guys play Japanese. Do you guys have like actual like outside of like store events? Do you have things that like lead to like the WGP for Japan and stuff like that for Shadowverse, or is it mostly just like your local scene making these events?
So we do have like they call it championship series, but the first prize doesn't bring you to Japan. And from what we have gathered, from what we infer is because that in order to go JP, right, our champion series only consists of about 40 plus players. And some of those players come from Malaysia, basically our neighboring country, which is just a bridge away. Then compared to Japan, where one qualifier is about 1,000 plus people, it's kind of not fair to give us one seat, in the championship. Or not, Japanese player will fly to Singapore to play the championship, and then compared to them having to fight 900 plus other players, when it comes to Singapore, you just have to fight 99 other players. Your chance of winning will be much higher in Singapore. And to be honest, like paying a plane ticket of maybe $500 to come to Singapore is actually worth that spot, especially when they give out the prize pool for international is about 100 million yen. I still do not know, is it 100 million yen? Am I right? I can't remember the numbers, but it's still a lot of money.
Does the physical have that kind of price support?
I can't really remember, but I know the digital have. Yes.
100 million yen was the actual right number. Yeah, I saw that.
That one's for digital, right?
Yeah, that's for digital.
Yeah. I have no idea for physical. Like I only kind of like glance. Like I have like tags up on Twitter just to notify me when posts come up and stuff. But like I don't keep super close track because I don't play the Japanese one. I just kind of like whenever there's a GP or something, I'll watch the stream, especially the top 8. But
I'm sorry. Can I make a small side tangent about that? So you've watched. You play digital. You said, Shinto, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen those those 100 million yen first place tournaments where like the guy gets excited where he's like, I think it was like a year or two ago. It was like the finals, and the guy gets shaky hands and clicks on the wrong card in the finals and loses.
Wait, that happened? I need to see that video.
That happened.
Oh
he's like, because it's like, dude, you're about to win 700,000 USD, and then you misclick.
Oh shit!
I want to see that clip, dude. If I was
Hell
that
no.
guy, I would like blow my brains out at that point. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
You have
Oh,
the
I mean
win.
the most recent mess up. The most recent mess up I see was the JP tournament where I think it was in the top 8. It was a Forest Mirror, and the guy didn't ward up, and then his opponent managed to kill him through that. And he had no reason not to ward up. He could have just he would have won, but he just didn't ward up, and his opponent just killed him by then. And the you can see the face, the sadness, the shack from making that mistake. It was very high intensity. We are not even talking about international. We are talking about qualifier, and we are top 8.
Yeah.
Right.
That the amount of pressure on the players. I mean, I'm not surprised that when you reach on top, you make this type of mistake. Because the amount of pressure on players when they reach this high level of games and when there's high stakes involved, the pressure is immense. I also still haven't get used to it yet.
Oh no,
Have you all
you
get
never
used
do.
to it? You never do, right?
It depends. There's like times I've had games that like didn't even matter as much where I've like walked away shaking, like actually shaking because I couldn't believe like how like intense the games were. And then I've had like finals, like right, we've gotten like first place or second place at a tournament where I'm just like, happened. It does depend on like how stressful, because like right, there's like games where like your skin steamrolled or you're steamrolling your opponent. There's other ones where it's like it's like turn 12 or something, right? And you're just sitting there, you're like, ooh, man, you're top decking, like you need like the top deck every turn, right? And it just keeps happening. You're like, oh my god, dude, I can't anymore. So yeah, I do think it does really depend more so. The place matters a little bit, but definitely the game matters a lot more. I think it depends on like how disgustingly long and close the game is more than anything.
Yeah. Like for me, it's really weird. So before I got really heavily into card games, I played fighting games super competitively during like Street Fighter 4 and Super Street Fighter 4 era. And so I would go to locals in my area to play Street Fighter, and I would top 8, and I'd like freak out because I've never had that type of pressure. And this is just like a local like fighting game thing, right? And like I've never had that pressure before, and like, I would get the jitters and stuff too, and like bomb out of those. And then I do remember one time I went to, for those that know a lot about fighting game scenes, NorCal Regionals. I made it on stream with my team there, and it was the first time I ever played on stream. And I was playing against like a pro player that I sort of looked up to at the time, and I made myself look like a buffoon. And so like I totally understand those jitters. When I came to card games, I don't get it too often. There are some like top 8s that I've played in Weiss a lot, and like the first like top 8, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of spooked. I win that, go to top 4, I get extra spooked, and then like if I make it to the finals, the entire time I'm probably like in my own brain like freaking out a little bit, trying to like quadruple check everything to make sure I'm making the correct play. And even sometimes then you screw up and you're like, oh my god, why was I so focused on this thing that didn't matter when I had this other line of play that was really good? Things like that. It's one of those things too, I feel like you never grow out of, but you get better at controlling it, where like you're in the finals, and before you would be like shaking like this the entire time, but now it's more like you still have that inward like pressure, but you don't physically show it as much, at least that's what I feel like.
What about against certain players? I have a jitter against a certain players at my local, because when I was playing BPO1, BPO2, this guy was ahead of the curve. Like he was reading, I think, every Japanese meta there is, and he was super ahead of everyone else. But sadly, he's no longer playing. But whenever I face him, I had the jitter. I couldn't stop, and the hand is shaking always. It's kind of like instinct telling me that guy is dangerous.
Yeah, there's this cool player. His last name is King, and I could not beat him whenever I fought him.
I'm sorry, Dean. Dean is so cursed. Every time we've met at a regional for like Weiss and we played each other, like it didn't matter how bad I like opened. For some reason, I would like crawl back and win those games. It was bad.
I go, Kit, check out this sick tech that absolutely cripples you if I see it. And then like Kit's like, well, I'm just gonna like high roll you the entire game. And you are like just your tech, it doesn't even matter. It can hit the board, it doesn't matter. It's not enough to save you. You've already lost. I don't know. See, I'm cocky. I'm cocky. So I try to not let like the person across from me like intimidate me. I think that's like the thing is like you need to like not be intimidated. Like you're playing a card game, bad things happen to everyone. Especially if you like watch like pro games and stuff, you realize, you know, everyone, they're just a person. It's a card game. Bad things can happen. As long as you play as well as you can, that's all you can do. So I try not to let the person influence me, but there are games that shake me to my core. And there's, I guess, there's like some players.
There's no one I sit down across from and go, oh my god, why do I have to do this? I'm gonna like, this is the worst. I'm just gonna lose this game. But there are players, especially like from playing so competitively in Weiss for so long, that I've met throughout the world and like from traveling to Japan and going to different regionals with Dean and stuff like that, where like, if I sit down against you because I know you very well, I'm just gonna be annoyed because I know that I have to try harder than normal. Because like usually the first few rounds of a regional event, you're more likely to hit some of the players that aren't as skilled as you or as invested as you. So those games, even if you make like if you play a little sloppy, you still win because you can still outskill them and outplay them. But when you get to those later rounds and you start seeing your buddies that you like grind the game with and stuff, you're just like, oh, this sucks. Like we have to play each other and like knock one of us out. Those are like the things that I hate the most when I sit down across people. But I don't think I've like the only people I've ever like sat down across from in a competitive game and like I'm like, you know, get the jitters and like freaked out about it was mostly in fighting games whenever I ended up playing against like people that I looked up to at the time because I was so new to the scene, and those like just playing with them even in casual games I would freak out a little bit on the inside and like misplay and do things like that.
I do want to say, in fighting games, you actually can't beat the better player.
Yeah.
in card games, you can. In card games, it doesn't matter. You're like, they probably drew bad. In fighting games,
I mean, it's ratio. Yeah, there's mathematics behind card games, and I actually have this very bad habit. I do not know if this is rude or not, but when I play against players, right, when I realize they are new players, after the match, I will ask them like, oh, why do you play this during that turn? Like, it is a mistake. They did a mistake, so I straight away after the tournament ask them, oh, why do y'all do this turn? Trying to get behind their mind to see why they have played the card. I do not know if that's rude or not, to be honest.
I don't think it is because I'm always looking to make people better, and I think that is how you make people better. So yeah, no, I don't think it's rude, but like some people might. It does depend on the person.
Yeah, I think Dean and I have ran into this before when we were playing competitively for Weiss. We'll like at the end of a game, like we've like seen some glaring misplay or we don't understand why they made this like played this turn out this specific way when it felt like they had better plays to make. Or like they make some kind of weird sequencing thing that was just like, why'd you do it in this order instead of this way? And I think it's just you kind of like try to read the person. Like you kind of start off poking a little bit to see if they're even receptive to like talking about it or getting better or like whatever. A lot of people here, usually, especially when we're getting later into the event and like most of the like hyper competitive players are playing against each other. I will stop at the end of a game or they will stop and they'll just ask questions and be like, oh, what do you think of this when I made this play or you made this play, like why did you do it this way or whatever. We're very open to talking and getting better as a community that way. But definitely it's one of those things where you gotta kind of like poke the bear a little bit first to see how they feel. Sometimes people are up to like talking about it, other times people are like, I just got unlucky, and then they go away, right? And like those players, those people, they're not as interested as like, you know, you like grinding out that extra 1% chance of winning or whatever, that last itty bit of skill or whatever. But I usually advocate to people, like, I feel like 99% of the people you run into, they'll be willing to talk to you about the game, or like why they did certain plays, or what they think was good or bad or whatever. I haven't ran into anyone that's been like super rude or like told me to get the hell out of or whatever. I'm not going to talk to you. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most players I met are okay, and that's why I like, to push up the community so that you have tougher opponents to play against. So I mean, that's the main reason why I started Shintoverse. Yeah, I was trying to push my local community up to a higher standard, so I can get to fight good players. And to be honest, a lot of the players here are very good, and when we go to the English and players are just playing, we can see the difference is by a very huge margin. So we are just thinking right now is if we should step in and then try to help out the English players a bit, because as much as we want them to figure out things on their own, but we don't want them to be bullied by players who have played the JP meta and then go in and just outruns everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure. But there's definitely other players, kind of like Dean and I and stuff, who like we we try to find as much information as possible before we get into a game, and like we'll copy paste like every deck, like winning deck list, just to try it out and stuff like that. Just to get better. So I'm sure like every scene has some of those players, right? So eventually those players are gonna bully all the other like casual players. Can't help that
Um,
sometimes.
at least they do their homework. There's
Mm.
nothing much to say. At least they did their homework, and this is again is about how much you prepare. Like I have this not argument but discussion about 41 or 40 cards for Shadowverse.
Mhm.
And given that I come from a Yu-Gi-Oh background, I always say 41, because that one extra card space is 1% chance of winning. Not having that one card is 0% chance of winning. So that 1% is very, very huge for me. Yeah. So this
You
is
know
my
what?
Yu-Gi-Oh background. Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that. If you want to add an extra card and you're like, what do I cut? The answer is nothing. You just add it.
So confident with that. I've run into some arguments with some players in Shadowverse, at least, where I'm like, I play like 42 or 41 cards, and then they're like, why don't you just cut down to 40? And I'm like, if you do the math, like having one, maybe two extra cards isn't gonna impact you so much. Like if you're playing a ton of one ofs, like you're not gonna see that card every game anyway, unless you have like a way to
Mm.
search it out. So if if you're worried about drawing your one of, like why are you just not playing this as like two or three then? Like if it's that important. But I know like in this area too, like some of the Haven players, like they win a lot of their matches against Dragon to deck out. So what they've started doing was like play like 43 cards in their deck just to have that extra padding, because they also draw a lot of cards, to make sure that Dragon will be the one to deck out, not them. Things like that, because some people have had that scenario where I think even in a top 8 game at a qualifier, um, also they won their Dragon match because their win condition was I'm gonna deck them out, and that's it.
That's terrorism.
It is
That's
terrorism.
actual terrorism.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any like specific right answer, but yeah.
But just a PSA, all right, for tournaments, right? It depends on the tournament organizer. If you drag until the timeout, because Shadowverse is a BO1 game, there is chances of a double loss. Really depends on the tournament organizer. So this may be a PSA for those who wants to take out Dragon. Maybe you should think of another game
Another
plan, because you might get the loss instead.
for sure, for sure. I've actually lost some games where we went to time and my opponent like triple like Shenlong at like the last 3 turns of the game, and even though I was winning completely, they had more life than me, so I just lose. I was like, dang, that sucks. Um, but yeah. All right. Does that kind of wrap up everything for that? Right? Do you have anything else you want to talk about local scene and stuff? Either of you?
Ooh, I do have one thing I forgot to mention. What our second place was. You may think this is really funny. It was Ass Haven.
Sorry.
It was the Layla, whatever it is, where you attack with their defense. And I walked over and I look at I look at Timmy Tusel, our boy, Shinto. You don't know, it's a guy from my scene who he's playing sword, and across the table from him is a 0-14 Layla. I want to call that's the strongest card in the game.
How do you get 0-14?
It gets +2 every turn. It starts off as a 0-8.
Oh shit!
It's insane. And then he Jean Evos and it's 0-10. And this thing is just sitting on the board like an amulet, but like an indestructible, because its sword doesn't play actual removal. And like he didn't know this thing was coming, so he didn't search out the Shadowed Assassin with the maid, and it's like a 1-of in the deck.
Oh my
So
god.
he doesn't have an out for this card that's just getting bigger until it one-shots it.
Oh my god, that's insane. Actually,
Jesus.
Oh,
man.
it was really funny. Sadly, it didn't get first because that would have been a really funny tournament report, but it got second. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I just want to share that because that deck was funny.
No, you remind me of something because I did see your the tier list. I think it was 2 episodes back. The tier list for the English
Oh
meta.
yeah.
I really like that graph table where you shows the most played, least played, the graph,
Oh yeah.
the placement of the craft. Because a lot of people ask me like, Dragon, like they ask, Dirt Rune is so strong, why isn't it tier 1 and something like that. They ask this type of question. What people do not understand is that like the player base counts into the meta as well. So if let's say 100 players, 100 are playing sword, is Dragon even tier 1? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really like that graph, and a lot of players I think really benefit from that graph. And also I want to ask is how is the Flame and Glass Dragon doing?
That deck.
I think.
Oh my god. So I told Kit that forever ago, in our first tier list where I had the fucked up mic audio. I think that deck is like unbelievably strong. If you just like all in on like all of the disgusting cards, Flaming Glass Swordcraft cannot beat it, and you win like the mirror too. Because Flaming Glass pops every single relevant dragon card as long. I think the problem is the best of one, right? I mean, you have to high roll anyway, but I think your high rolls are better than any other deck. Because you pop an entire like sword literally instantly folds the second you put down a Flaming Glass. Dragon, if they try to go wide, they're instantly punished. If they try to like not tap a card to like set up a lethal, they're instantly punished.
Yeah, so
I'm still a huge fan of it.
Yeah, so do you guys think like the meta is figured out for set 1? Like, what do you guys think?
I don't think it's like fully like explored, but I think it's kind of like we're at that point where it's like 90% of the things have been explored, and there's like that 10% of unknown. Just depends on like if people are going to touch those things before set 2 comes out. But to also talk about the Flaming Glass stuff, like I took Flaming Glass Dragon to a championship too, and the deck is like when you get the good hands, the deck is insane. Like I played a lot of Dragon Mirrors, and like I will in Dragon, I'm like the only out they really have is like a Serpent's Wrath, I think, or whatever. And so like I will just like play a glass on turn 3 and be like, here you go. Do you have a way to remove this? No, okay. Turn 4, Flaming Glass, 7 face, blow up your board. And then a lot of times later in the game too, like you get to turn 7 or you get to play 7 play points first. And so if you've been holding the pieces, you can just do it then and blow up their board as well. And it seems like a lot of the games where I was able to like at least ramp a turn and then like on my 7 play point turn drop Flaming Glass, like it felt like those games were like I just won right from there. Like they continue to play the game, but they've lost so much from that point. They have like no way to recover. And like if I drop like a Bellringer that to protect the Flaming Glass also, like it feels like it's impossible for them to deal with unless they like have an execution or something to get rid of it. or they have to spend like 2 cards, like in the Dragon Mirror. They'll spend like Serpent's Wrath plus the Breath or whatever. So the not only do you blow up their board and do 7 face, they also have to spend 2 cards to get rid of this. Otherwise, they lose the game anyway. So it's really strong. But then I've also hit those games where it's like, I'm missing one of the pieces and I'm just never drawing it. What is happening? And
or even worse, where you look at your hand and it's 3 flames and you go,
yeah, so some of those hands are really rough. It's, to me, like, the deck is like, if you open up from decent to like the nut, like it's the best deck. Anything else, it's just like immediately drops off the cliff of like how good the deck is, because you're just playing a bunch of like semi-dead cards in your deck at that point. But it's an interesting deck. I really liked it a lot.
The reason why I asked about Flame and Glass and just checking Flame and Glass is because we do have a player who play locally whose deck is neutral craft. So he only play Flame and Glass, and to be honest, he do have very decent result in tournaments. So I was just wondering how is the dragon with Flame and Glass is, because imagine just neutral craft without any classes, the deck is doing decent. I was wondering how well will it be with dragon,
Yeah, I think Dragon Shell is like the best for it, because the fact that you get up a turn on play points is always like really big in my opinion, and you could play for later.
I think I'm like 50-50 between that and Haven. I don't know which. I want to actually test the Haven build.
Yeah, I think the Haven build would be better because Haven have more draws.
Yeah, I had a friend, also Pressure again. He played one of the events I went to. Like I think I played it in 2, maybe 3 events I went to. One of the other events I went to, my second round opponent was Pressure, and he was on Haven Flame and Glass, and we had a Flame and Glass mirror, and we were like, what the hell's going on here? And the matchup literally came down to like, we were like blowing up each other's board nonstop, blowing up each other's Flame and Glass, and then got to the point where we're both like at like 3 health, and we're just like, did you top deck Storm? No, okay, my turn. Did I top deck Storm? No, okay, your turn. And it just went back and forth till someone got Stormed to kill the other player. It was so dumb. But yeah, I haven't played like the Haven Shell for Flaming Glass myself yet, but I mean, I could see it doing very well. So
yeah, I mean, like we were talking about the tier list, right? The figure. I think tier 1 is definitely tier 0 and tier 1. I think will be the confirm for the next 2 set at least. The question would be, I think the thing is tier 2 and tier 3 decks are the decks that are not really well figured out yet. Do you guys think that often we will find like a hidden tier 2, tier 3 deck that will become tier 1, like Dirt Rune?
I definitely think so, because let me see, like people over, at least in my area, they're very much willing to like explore everything. For the most part, they'll try anything they think is good. They'll even play like some bad cards, like things that I would have written off initially. They end up like at least trying it once or twice before they actually write it off completely. So I'm sure something will come out of it suddenly, and we'll be like, oh, that's a like something like maybe Japan didn't get on too early, or Singapore or whatever found initially, and like they'll we'll figure it out, and maybe that'll become like a contender for like the tier 1 deck. But also at the same time, I look at like Swordcraft and Boost in set 2 and also Haven. I'm like, both those decks look so good already. Yeah. What do you think, Dean?
Oh, I mean, whatever deck I play is tier 1. Whatever deck my opponent's playing, it's probably like, if they win, they were cheating, so it was probably like a tier 3 deck. I personally am not like a big fan of like boxing things in that much, because like I think that right now Forest is like good, right? It's like not very high on the tier list, I don't think, and yet like every time I play it, I think that there's something there. Maybe something that I'm not going to bring to the table, but like, right, it's like next set we're getting. You say Sword's insane. I know I've played Leonidas. Leonidas, if like it looks at a Haven card, right, or if it, like people like look at it wrong, it like explodes and then you lose. That's how I feel. And then there's like the Aegis, and right, it's like, well, I think that Forest, once again, and I hate this. I put Forest low on the tier list. I'm not a Forest main. But like Homecoming outs Aegis, and Aegis it's like the Havencraft deck dirtles until it Aegises, and then like it makes the Aegis invincible, and then you Homecoming, and then what do? Right? I think that there's definitely like a lot of room to explore and like counter these decks. Like I know that like Forest gets Tia, and you can bottom deck or whatever the Leonidas. You can just make it so they never get the banner out, and without the banner, their deck kind of sucks, right? They play a bunch of cards that go wide, but without the Leonidas banner, they don't really have a win condition. So I think the meta is like a little bit more open than people think, because then it's like, okay, you can play Forest to counter this, and suddenly that's getting lower, and then you have to counter the counter, right? I think there's like always room for a little bit of innovation. So, I don't think it's just 2 decks next set. I think there's more. I think that maybe you should play like Forest, and then like other things could come out of the woodwork too.
Do you guys want a bit of spoiler for Forest?
It's
for
broken.
the next set?
It's always broken.
If Forest actually did have a resurgence like in the last 2 weeks of the meta, because people realize is that why do I have to deal with Aegis when I can just shoot face? So they play Rose Queen and Silverbolt is about the same as BPO1, and they just shoot Haven face, and Haven cannot out-heal the damage from Silverbolt and Rose Queen, because Rose Queen already deals 15 damage, and if you time your Rose Queen spells well enough, you basically deals about 20 plus damage in 2 turns, and Aegis only drops on turn 11. So you have 2 turns for Rose Queen to kill you, basically. So Forest will be strong, and then subsequently Forest has been like a tier 1 deck for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I'm really excited for when set 2 comes out and people start exploring more, because it's definitely
We're recording
different.
this right now. I'm gonna buy these Rose Queen U's real quick before we put this one live. Rose.
Oh my god. Oh man.
I mean,
market manipulation at its finest.
Maybe another market manipulation is that if you do not have money for Lucifer or Bellringer, which I think a lot of people are complaining about, and it's because Lucifer only lasts about 1-2 sets.
Yeah.
Just go Giga Mesh and Snipe. They are budget options,
Giga Mesh is sick.
It's sick.
He's sick.
Put it in the Tiger Haven, and all of a sudden you have a tempo deck. All right,
Yep.
correct? Instead of Lucifer, you play Giga Mesh, all of a sudden you have a tempo deck. And if you want to go mid-range, and actually the Goblin Mount, is it? The 5 mana evolve for free, become a 7/7. It deals 2 damage to your board. That is a very good tempo card. I mean, it's a very strong card on your own. It's also a very good card, which I don't see people playing. Maybe it's because of the evolve slot. Or if you want something that's defensive, there's the Shield Injure, which is a 5 mana 3/6. It's hard for aggro to pass through that body. So if you do not have Lucifer, don't worry too much about it. Of course, there's some matches you wish you have Lucifer, but add in Giga Mesh, add in Snipe for that 2 card, you should be able to win most of your matchup.
Yeah, I've actually played some people who like don't want to spend a lot of money until they fully commit to the game, and they've come with like budget decks like that and stuff, and it's still fairly competitive just because I feel like at least right now in Booster Set 1, almost everything is like neck and neck of like at any moment something can be better than the other one as far as like what your local scene is like, because like sometimes we see like Forest win, and I know a lot of people here like kind of wrote Forest off as like a free win all the time, but like it just because we say like the deck sucks, it doesn't mean it can't win, so
there's always meta change, because like for right now everybody is playing sword, so aggro swords go mid-range because they want to win the other sword. All of a sudden Rose Queen is in BPO1 doing well, because the game has moved from winning by turn 6 into like playing turn 7, turn 8, which they can drop their Rose Queen. And when cards become more tempo, control decks can start being a nuisance to them. Basically it's the triangle where aggro wins control wins tempo.
I just bought 2 Rose Queen U's. Market manipulation at its finest.
Oh my god.
But what I was gonna say is I'm pretty sure that actually the best card in Forest is the Archer card.
What Archer card?
The Silverbolt? Silver
No,
book.
no, 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 no.
Oh,
The
no,
archer, the
oh,
two
oh,
mana, two
Oh,
mana.
One
Your
four.
opponent,
One
your
Yeah.
opponent can't have a board. Is what it says.
The first time I played against that, I was like, "Oh, where'd my board go? What is happening?" Like they evo it and it hits 2 things now, and they play that other one drop that also pings something. I was like,
They
"Oh,
start
my
shoving
board's gone."
fairies up, and your entire board explodes, and you go, "I can't play sword anymore."
The first time I ran into that playing aggro sword, I was like, "This is like the worst thing I've ever run into in my life. I don't want to play sword anymore." Oh man. All right. We have anything else we want to talk about? Into the next stuff. All right.
Yeah, I think that's all for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do a little AMA after this next section here, but since we have Shinto on as a guest, we're gonna have him do our little game. So Dean, do you want to explain the
boy.
rules and everything?
Okay, so the way this is called guess that flavor text. And it's very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to read off the flavor text of a Shadowverse card that exists in physical in English. You don't get any of those Japanese cards. Only booster 1. And you have to guess what card it is. You get 3 lifelines. You get what set the card is in originally in digital. You get what class it is and what type of card it is. So, monster, amulet, spell. You start off with 4 points. Every time you use a lifeline, you lose a point. So your goal is to get as many points as possible. Are you ready?
All right, let's go.
I'm actually this one both feels mean, but I think due to something we talked about earlier, I think you might I have confidence in you. So this is the surface. I'd heard the shadows were rampant here, but I didn't expect it to stink of death and destruction like this. No matter, though, by my lord's order, I will bring light upon the land.
Jindia.
Whoa,
Is it Jin?
do you want to use some lifelines? Do you want to use some lifelines?
My lord, oh shit, lord, oh. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is Jin, who protects the heaven realm.
Okay. I want to help you out just a little bit. You might want to ask what class this is in.
It's not heaven. She.
This is a funny one.
Dude, I don't even have any idea.
I mean, if it's Lord, it's either Haven or Bloodcraft, I guess. Unless it's Prince of it can't be neutral, right? Can't be Prince of Darkness. Okay, well, what craft is it? What class is it?
Neutral craft.
Prince of Darkness? Is
But
it
you're
Prince
fine.
of Darkness?
Prince of Darkness. Wait. Prince of Darkness is like not in physical.
Oh yeah, not in physics. Oh shit. Neutral. I mean, other neutral. There's Gabriel and Lucifer, right? I guess it's Gabriel.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, Gabriel.
Okay. Well, we had this conversation. You were just talking about it's the angelic sword maiden.
Oh,
It's the angelic sword maiden. I clicked on this card and there's like 2 paragraphs, and I'm like, what the hell?
Dude, some of the flavor text in digital is insane. Oh my god. Well,
Yeah.
nice try, Shinto. It was a good effort.
Don't worry, this game is impossible.
It is impossible.
It's like actually impossible.
I mean, before the recording, I say I played Shadowverse without sound on, and
yeah.
Well, to be fair, angelic sword maiden is not seeing play.
Oh,
demo.
was it?
It was in the demo deck. It was like when you start the game, it gives you the little demo deck that sucks, and you're just like, oh, it's in the tutorial.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Shadowverse Digital because it was played in Shadowverse Digital. Yeah, I remember how strong it was.
What do you wait? When was this set? Though I never played. I played set 2. I started set 2.
Set one.
I never played OG set 1, so maybe it was
Yeah.
already bad by the time a second booster came out.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it was fun in set 1. Yeah.
All right, with that out of the way, we're going to wrap things up here with the little AMA. So we asked people if they had questions for you that you would like us to ask you. and you're welcome to answer any of these questions or say no or whatever. So I'm gonna work my way through the first ones here that we have on our Discord server, and we'll just go from there. So this, oh my god, I can't see. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know why. Oh wait, actually I can disable this. There we go. Okay, I see everyone's name now. So the first question we have for you is from Nightshade. They asked, Shinto's meta report archive only goes to set 3 when they are up to set 6 in JP. Where's the rest? Question mark. Or at least, what's the reason we only see up to set 3?
Okay, so for that one, right? I have up to set 4. So the archive is up to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the current meta list is for set 4. A reason why was because I ran out of cash for set 5. So
Understandable.
I didn't play set 5 at all. I saved the money and I made the right choice. Basically, when um set 6 they announced that they're gonna have a championship series.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the budget from set 5 and set 6 combined together to form a proper deck. Yeah, that's why I managed to get top 8 for the championship because I saved my money. And also another problem is that data is not free flowing. It's hard to get data from. Sometimes you ask, but um organizers or shops are busy with their other stuff. So you kind of hard to get data as well. Yeah, I think that's my main problem. Getting data is not as easy as people thinks.
Yeah, especially if you're not going there yourself every time I'm recording it is very tough.
Yeah.
We have some people in the Weiss community who like go above and beyond to like collect data, and they'll hunt people down, and they'll be at events like, please scan this QR code and let us know what you're playing and stuff, so we can like figure out like what the representation is. Those people are insane. Those people who go that far for the data are insane, but I absolutely appreciate them for any community they're in, especially if I'm playing whatever game they're playing.
Yeah, I also have some in the local community. Thank you very much for providing me all the data. Yeah.
All right. Next question here is from Prescia. Pretty far in the future, but I'd love to know his opinion on the limits to the Uma Musume cards and if he thinks the deck will still be the best. So, yeah, so for English, we have I'm sure you're aware, we have the restrictions that are coming out right at the start. What do you think of it? And do you think that's enough to, put the horses at bay?
Um from what I've gathered, some people have tested the deck out. Consistency becomes a very big issue for Uma, and that will push them a bit back against Dragon. But hopefully give some space for aggro and tempo to breathe, because for those of you who are unsure, the Uma set came out and it kills basically all other aggro and tempo deck, and that's the only reason why Dragon was tier 1, because there's no aggro deck to keep the Dragon in check. um in my opinion, I think it might hurt. It also have to depend on when the Shenlong ban will hit, because from what I know right now, Shenlong is 3.
Yeah, it still
But
is.
I think, yeah, we got our Shenlong ban, I think, in after Uma, if I remember correctly. So Shenlong ban is a very big hit for Dragon, and we'll see how it goes from there. Yeah.
All right. To follow up that, this question is from their username is eh. So feelings on the comparison of how Uma Musume stuff is pre-banned for a good reason, he says, or they say, versus Shenlong not being restricted to one, like with the current JP list. Do you think it might be an example of Cygames letting an English meta develop on its own and doing their restrictions accordingly, or them just waiting till the same set/time Shenlong was originally restricted in JP and doing it in English then?
This is a very good question that I really didn't consider much, because everybody was asking the question, right? How is English gonna be like when it comes out, especially when it's 6 set behind to JP?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people was wondering if how are they going to change it up? Are they going to do a new ban list, or in fact, everybody was spectating a Shenlong ban to 1 in BPO1, which didn't happen. I would say that I think they are looking at JP meta. They are finding out what are the causes, which is a bit worrying for me because as you can see from UMA to BPO3, there was a steep power creep for the set in order for it to beat UMA. So the question will be that if we nerf UMA now, how is the set 3 going to be like? So I guess they should be fine because each class, compared to having UMA as one whole class being dominating, set 3 you still have different classes, so people won't be too bothered by it. But I would say that I think they are trying to let the English meta have a bit of differences, because or not, there's no reason for people who play JP to come into English. So I guess they are trying to change things up a little to make it interesting for the players. Yeah.
All right. Let me see here. All right. This one's from Ellis. He's asked thoughts on the invite-only regional system and how they should be handed out through better means or less demanding means if they continue to work with the system. And then he had a smaller follow-up question. What are like the pros and cons of going first and second, and what matchups it's favorable for? I guess, yeah.
Let's answer the second part of the question. I think that's a lot more easy to answer. It really have to depends what class you are playing usually and what you are VSing against. Good thumb of rule against Rune is to let them go first because Rune always wants to be control. They wants the evolve point for the penguin, so always let them have let them go first so that they don't have the hand size to cast the spell and they don't have a turn 2 penguin. Meanwhile, for the other classes, I think going first usually is the correct way. Usually. But as you go later on in the game, turn 1 and turn 2 is very, very important. Also in RPSAs, I've seen this a lot of time and I like to, not enforce, but I would like to let people know that if someone comes to you with, because I know other card game, there's the go first and go second card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they ask you to choose. Then you just, whatever you pick, that means you go first or go second. Don't follow that. If he have any issue with it, you call the judge because in this game, going first and second is very, very important. And having the knowledge and choosing to go first or second can actually wins you the game. So do not be kind of forced into the card trick where this go first, go second. Let's see who pick what. Is kind of like rule shucking, I think. I know that people don't understand during the early on, but we after a lot of testing we realized that this is very important, and a lot of people are still making that mistake.
Yeah, I know, like locally and stuff. I think it's just because people who come from Bushiroad games. I'm not sure for Vanguard because I didn't play it as much, but I know in Weiss, like whoever like wins just always goes first always goes first when we do that.
It's literally the rules.
Yeah, it's like part of the rules. So I think a lot of people who came from Weiss or Vanguard or other Bushiroad games, they probably assumed it was the same way because I think every Bushiroad game has been like that. So I that's my assumption, at least for it happening early on.
Oh, I personally still have the torment of which one's better. I don't know if you do. Both of you do. I think it's really difficult to tell if going first or second is better.
Depends. If you're playing control against a mirror matchup, you want to go second because the evolve point and the +1 hand card size is actually what wins you the game. And then if you're aggro, of course you always want to go first. It's just a certain matchups that you do not want to let them have the evolve point. What else is there? Those are general rules. Like when we reach set 6, right? Turn 2 evolve is a thing, and denying that turn 2 evolve from your opponent actually wins you the game. So that's also another thing to watch out for when you go to the later set. But during the first 4 set, I think the general rule of thumb is aggro go first, unless you're meeting Rune. And then control v control, you always want to go second for the extra card and the evolve point. Maybe except if you're Dragon, Dragon, they still want to high roll with the ramp, all this. Yeah,
I think.
But I always
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, whenever I play Dragon, I feel like I want to go second because this makes me more likely to have Oracle. And once I have Oracle, I'm ahead. Plus, I have the Evo Orb.
So do you play Shape Shifting Mage and Dragon Warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to go second because you have those two cards, it's fine. And then third question is that do you have is it Dragon Wing or Dragon Breath? Not Dragon Breath, the 3 mana AoE spell for dragon against aggro decks.
Oh, that's the
I
wing one. But yeah.
I have not played enough Dragon to have that in the deck, so
Yeah, so if you have that, it's okay to go second in my opinion. Or not, you are just asking for aggro to aggro you down. Yeah. Usually you want to deny aggro going first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like from all the dragon I've played, like I've always want to go first in almost every matchup. The only exception is that I feel against Sword denying them the turn 3 Floor Fencer Evo when I don't play enough tools to deal with wide boards early on, and most of the stuff I have to deal with is later. Like I have to make value trades with like Dragon Warrior and stuff in that matchup. So that's why I'm like I don't want them to get Floor Fencer as like literally turn 3 because then I feel like I'm gonna immediately start losing. But outside of that, like every matchup I played, I'm like I just always want to go first with Dragon. I feel like I've never felt bad going first, at least.
Oh yeah, talking about that, I remember you did say someone was saying that Dragon Oracle, he removed 3 Dragon Oracle, right?
Yeah.
That was sacrilegious. What about adding back Ilia? Because it seems that a lot of Dragon player have removed Ilia from their deck list. And what do you think of adding back Ilia to the deck?
So early on, I was like, I hate this card because it feels horrible to draw, especially later in the game. But the more I played the game, I realized, like, honestly, the only bad matchup right now, if like slamming this card out, is like Havencraft. But against everyone else that's more board focused, I'm just like, I can play this on 3, and I go like, you answer this and ramp me, or I get like 3 face damage, or I get to trade this into something, and it's been very powerful. So like right now, I'm playing a little bit more greedy, I guess. I play 3 Oracle and 2 Ayala. I don't go for the full 3 Ayala. But like nowadays, I won't like hamper people for playing like it as a 3 of or whatever, because I've after my first couple Dragon Mirrors, when I wasn't playing with like Dean and stuff, it was very quickly like, oh man, this card is actually really annoying. And if they went first, and I'm forced to remove it, now they're like 2 turns ahead of me instead of just like the 1 turn ahead of me, and it feels like it gets way too out of control really fast. So yeah.
I have always been a 2 to 3 Isla believer ever since I realized I either die to it or I let them ramp. When I saw it has 3 attack instead of 2, I went, that's a good card.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, like, a lot of people were saying that Alia wasn't strong during the starting, which is true against Sword. I guess it's a 3 mana that doesn't clear the board. But as more dragon comes out and they realize in a mirror, Alia becomes very important. Whoever ramps or ramps more in a dragon mirror is usually the winner in the case. Yeah.
Yeah, because like early on, my experience was like I only need to ramp once to like feel really good, especially if I'm going first. So like initially, it was I just played 3 Oracle and 1 Ayala because I was like that. This is just basically my 4th copy of Oracle to like hopefully draw by turn 3. And then yeah, after experiencing the mirror match more and like other things, I was like, actually, this card is actually really good. Like no matter what, I don't know if I want to go up to 3, but I'm definitely at least happy right now at 2 for myself at least. But yeah.
Well, so for the first part of the question, can you repeat the first part of the question again? Like, is the shot qualifier?
Yeah. So basically, he's asking, what are your thoughts on like the regional qualifier system where we had to win a shop qualifier to get to a regional?
Do they have that there?
Yeah, they have that there because for English at least. What do you think of the system and if like it should change or anything like that? Where is this here?
I mean, this is your channel. Can I throw shades at asking permission if I'm allowed to throw some shit? I think you guys know a bit of the background.
You're welcome to say anything you want. So
yeah,
as long as it's not like racist or something crazy. Yeah, but if you want to like talk crap on Bushiroad or something like that or whatever, go ahead. We're not gonna stop you.
No, I mean the thing is, if you guys want to maintain, certain friendly terms with certain companies, then
we are public enemy number 1. Okay.
Yeah, where if you don't know us from Weiss, we, at least Dean and I and a few others,
I
we
am.
very critical on Bushiroad and how they handle things a lot. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of things that are worth saying, and I'll say my piece too after you say yours, but I'll tell you if I agree or not. But yeah, you go off, King.
All right, so a bit of background history is that I play Shadowverse or digital, and I play it competitively for about 3 to 4 years. So and also because of JP's side, if you're asking me how EN is handling the things right now, I would say it's so much better where you still have chances to go to Japan. Um, I mean, Bushiroad events, despite them, messing up some of their products, their competition usually are quite okay from what I've known. Then again, I've never really attended any Bushiroad tournaments, so I'm not very, very sure. But I do hear some rumors about not really say judge, but communication breakdown mostly only. So I guess their rules regulations are quite okay, which is good. And then at the same time, um, there are different ways to enter. I think it's quite okay. But my question would be: is it feasible in a long run? That's my question because it really depends on shop able to hold so many tournaments.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
wasn't
oh
that
yeah,
wasn't
and
bad at all.
short qualifier doesn't have judge, which when I went down to my local and observed the tournament, there wasn't a judge. And who whoever like is the tournament organizer who have the final say, on some rules. And if they do not know about rules, then player might get fucked over by ruling. Yeah. So I think maybe some things need to be changed, but as of now, I think they are doing a lot more than what the JP counterpart are giving us Shadowverse Evolve players, which I have to be honest, I'm quite grateful for. But let's call out the bets as bad and not hide them. And like I guess you need to have a short qualifier, maybe need to have judge. I guess hopefully that is feasible. Or not maybe just change all to one big event where it's the same for every Bushiroad game, right?
Yeah, where it's more of like an open, and you can, if you travel to the event, you can play in it. Yeah.
Oh, he was so much nicer than I thought he would be there. I I personally think it's. Should I go off?
You know
I
what?
mean,
You know what? I will not hold back. I actually heard of this that Shadowverse Evolve was going to give to SVO to handle.
mhm.
SVO basically is the Shadowverse Open, and I
Right.
wasn't very happy with it. There was rumors saying that they contacted SVO and SVO didn't pick up that contract. Um, my problem is that their judge can't make it compared to. For me, MTG is the gold standard
Yeah.
for
Right.
judge. SVO is here. You can't see it on screen. This is the standard I think that their judge are. So at least I'm glad right now that they are holding their own event and
Is
the
SVO
local judge.
is SVO for like what you guys have in Singapore? Is that what you're saying? Like,
No,
do
no, oh
they
sorry.
handle
SVO is Shadowverse
the
Open,
digital?
which is the digital
Yeah.
tournament.
What
Uh,
what do the judges do in that? I guess that's my question because like digital is like you click on the screen and then the cards do the things for you.
oh, they don't do their job.
Oh yeah,
So
because
basically,
I've only done like two of those, so I don't really
so,
know what's the beef behind them.
yeah. So the thing is that they are supposed to check your deck list to ensure that you do not have problem deck list. By right, that's what they say they will do, and but every time we do have a problematic deck list, and it just means that they are not doing their job. And despite them promoting the competition as very serious, very competitive, they always like to give chance, which kind of irked me because this is competitive, and then you guys are not. You are back and forward with the rulings for the scene. And one more thing is that if I feel like, in my opinion, I might be wrong, but I feel that if you are someone big in the community, usually they will close one eye, or if you make noise, they will follow up. But if you are no one, they don't give a shit at all. Yeah.
That's pretty common.
So for SVO, for me, the quality of judge is very, very low, and I'm glad that Bushiroad is doing the event. Actually, that's my point of view. Yeah.
He is positive. Man, I was gonna be negative.
Do you want to talk
I
about
personally, well, I personally think that so what we have with this qualifier system, and they're running it the same day as Weiss Schwartz at the exact same venues. If you didn't know, that's like basically what's coming out. Is
Okay, okay.
I think what's happened is that it's not a primarily Bushiroad game, and it's not one of their main games. And so for this first year, what I'm pretty sure just happened is they just like, what system can we have the smallest regionals possible so we get to put like one guy on staff? I legitimately do feel like I'm pretty sure this will change by next spring, I'm pretty sure. But right now, I think we're in like the trial phase for the game where they're just like, if it's popular, it could be really popular, but we don't want it to be because we don't have the staff and we refuse to get a different venue for it. And you guys are going to be second class citizens in between the 400 man. There's going to be like a 400 man Vanguard tournament, a 150 to 200 man Weiss, and there's going to be a 25 man Shadowverse tournament in the corner. And it can't be bigger because the invites are handed out in a way so that you literally can't have players. And I think it's this thing where right now they are not treating an actual gold mine, like, because I kit scene is popping, my scene is popping for like I'm a small area, right? There's like people coming, right? Toronto,
Yeah.
huge. Weiss and their other games, like I've never seen a Vanguard locals. I only know about Weiss locals because I've gone to them, right? I'm pretty sure Shadowverse could dwarf their other games if they like gave it the shot, and I'm looking forward to next year when we have the actual. Hopefully, we remove the shitty qualifier. I shouldn't have to win a locals against the people I expect to see at regionals to go to the regional, right? So I'm hoping that like we get the open regional soon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's another bigger event, right, for everyone to join in, and that will also qualify them for the invite as well, right?
Not that I've heard about, unless Kit knows about something.
it?
Kit had his headphones off, so I don't know if you heard that.
No, I heard
sorry,
it.
Kid.
I heard it.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, there's no other like special event for qualifying right now, right? So it's.
I win a 10-man locals, or I don't get to go to regionals.
Yeah,
like
it's
literally
kind
the rules. It sucks ass.
It's kind of
like
rough.
actually the worst thing.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Like at least for us. So over here, a lot of people who have the financial means to do it, they like to travel to a lot of these events. So like Dean and I are some of the people who like we will plan trips with friends and like fly across the country to go play at these events and have a fun weekend with friends and try to qualify for like our trip to Japan or whatever prizing we're trying to do, right? And in most other card games, like I mean, like you said, like Magic and stuff, a lot of people do that. They either have a team or a group of friends who do that, and they make it like little vacations that people can go on and compete in their hobby that they love to play in, right? So at least in our area, we have a lot of backlash of people who are used to those type of events and being able to like travel like 8 hours away to go to this venue and enter an open where anyone, if you just show up and register, you're allowed to play in it. So that partly like I think hurt our competitive scene starting off also because it was a very huge complaint a lot of people were getting mad at, on top of the fact that our qualifiers, the worst part right now is there's like two big things. Is one, none of the stores are kind of like you alluded to with like no judges or anything, is that the people who are running the event are not running the event. They don't really have judges on staff or anything, and like you're kind of screwed as far as like if you have a ruling question or something, or if they rule incorrectly, you're just out of luck at that point, which is really really rough. Like none of these stores got proper like training or saying like exactly how they need to run the event. It's like, for example, here, you're required to run a top 8 for your qualifier event, right? Here, um, almost all the qualifiers I've went to didn't run a top 8. I've been to like 4 now or so, and I think only, or actually no. Oh well, actually 2. No, I went to. Was it 4 only? Yeah, it's 4. I'm mixing up with the championship stuff. The 4 I've been to, only one of them ran top 8 properly. 2 of them didn't run top 8 at all. And one of the top 8s, it's supposed to be best of 1, but they did best of 3 all the way to the end for top 8. So it's really weird, and like some of the events, like they don't even run the proper amount of rounds. Like we'll have like 16 people, and they'll be like, okay, we're gonna just only run we're only running like 3 rounds instead of like 4 or 5, depending on like the tiebreakers and stuff. So it's been really weird, and like yeah, so a lot of people are kind of annoyed by it. We still have really big showings and stuff because I think a lot of people are very hopeful for the next season because kind of like you guys like Dean was saying, like a lot of people feel like this is probably like a trial run or something like that where they're trying to like fill the waters and stuff like that. I think like this personally, I think the system is like pretty interesting, and I think they had like a decent idea going forward, but I think they executed it horribly just because like a lot of stuff for it, like the groundwork they needed to do to like get it going properly and done correctly, they didn't really do. I feel like they just kind of like told stores like, here, you can sign up for this thing, and you just run this event, all right, good luck. And that's kind of what it's been. So like I know a lot of people who have been like kind of annoyed by the competitive scene right now because they want to be able to go travel, and like even these invites we have, they're kind of, some people are also annoyed because you win one invite and you can only go to one regional, and that's it. Like you can't go to multiple, where like a lot of people like to, like I said, do the travel and go to multiple regionals with friends and try to qualify because at the end of the day, there is like some amount of luck involved. And but if you're skillful enough, if and go to the like multiple events, you eventually should win one if you're that good of a player, right? Some days you just
Yeah.
show up and you just open up brick after brick, and you're like, dang, like that sucks. I tried my best, but like I got really unlucky today. And then other times, yeah, you like, if as long as you have the consistency and like you go to multiple events, you'll eventually hit like first or get your invite or whatever.
I'm so
So
sorry.
yeah.
I just want to say real quick, you
Mhm.
better believe if this was a Bushiroad only game, they would not have a cap on the number of players at a regional because they know that nobody would show up, much like Dragoborn and Lucky Logic had.
Oh man.
Okay, I'd like to add something.
Yeah.
It's not me defending, it's just because I have a bit of inside information.
Mhm.
Um, because this game, right, is side game plus Bushiroad, so um, both have to agree to make a decision every time when there's a need for decision. So this is the main problem, I think, for a lot of stuff. And I think yeah, I also have information saying that side game is a very hard to please boss. Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm defending them a bit more. But um yeah, this tournament, I think they have to get side games approval as well. So
Mhm.
things are run like this, not like the usual Bushiroad way. Also, another concern may be that because this card game, right, every profit is have to go to both Bushiroad and side games. Budget is more limited for them.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why we are not seeing a um very good event at the moment. And you know how the Japanese are, like, when it comes to their work ethic. They want to always see the result before they invest more. It's always
Yeah.
yeah, they prefer non-risky investment. So I guess right now the first one is to show how strong the community is, how strong it will grow, how they gonna predict it, the number of players coming up in maybe the next few months. And then maybe if things get better, we might have a better qualifier, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm just being hopeful here at the moment because other than Bushiroad, I mean, I'm very happy that Bushiroad is the one running the events and not SVO for my side. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like to kind of piggyback off of that too. Like I have some friends in that play or that work for Bushiroad in the English side, in America that is, and they've told me too like when it comes to Shadowverse Evolve, they have no idea. Like they just kind of like wait till Side Games tells them something, or like if they reach out to Side Games, it takes Side Games a long time to respond to them. So like
Yeah.
I totally understand. Like there's probably a communication issue between both companies,
Aha, the
right?
shoe on the other foot.
Yeah. So 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 yeah, there's probably definitely some kind of communication issue between them, and hopefully that like gets resolved. And after this first season, with what I feel like right now is a pretty strong showing from the community, at least in North America. Um, like people are out there and they're grinding the game and they want to play, and it feels like every local I've been to has been hyped to play, and every person I've taught the game to has enjoyed the game, and it's very easy to like pick up. So hopefully after this season, they get the results that they want or better, and they can invest more into the following seasons, because I do think if it gets forever stuck behind this you have to qualify to go to a regional thing, I think at least in North America it would probably turn a chunk of like the competitive scene like um, off the game, because they're kind of I know they're kind of right now kind of like rowdy and annoyed at the current system, but they're just doing it anyway because they just love the game right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the following seasons after this.
Yeah, I also like to see more collabs with content creator with Bushiroad and Side Games. I think for the English side, there ain't much content creators that's being sponsored. It will help to boost the game a lot if they try to sponsor the content creators more. Right now there's only is it Build Divide or
Different fight is what his
And
handle.
different fight?
different
And,
fight and Ignidius.
yeah.
Yeah, and Inidia's focus more on the Shadowverse side and not really Shadowverse Evolve. So hopefully they sponsor maybe you guys, and then have someone pushing the game. Like for me was that I created Shintoverse, because I know during that time English have no news, and I didn't want the hype to die down for you guys, the EN community. So I make all this um data analysis and content creation for the EN community. Um, yeah, so right now, at the end of the day, was for you all to grow. And to be honest, if I died, like if I've picked now, I'm fine with it. I just hope more content creation comes and the game survive. For maybe not forever, but survive long,
Long
so that I
term,
can
yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely like I said earlier in the podcast, like you're definitely like a huge jumping point for a lot of players, and like everyone. At least I'm very appreciative of the stuff you did early on, and I'm sure a lot of other people are as well.
I was one of the guys in this area that actually I bought the first couple sets in Japanese. So I visited your site and your site for when I wanted to actually read it, and then another big source was Nala,
Oh
the
yeah, now
YouTube
on
channel.
YouTube, yeah,
Nala, yeah.
yeah.
Nala's fantastic as well.
I watch a lot of their videos, in JP, just like the older videos too, to see what they were doing early on, and how they were figuring things out. It's been a lot of fun, and like peeking at current stuff there. I always have a lot of fun finding like random Shadowverse Evolved Japanese channels and just like perusing through all the stuff they have and what they did early on and what they're doing now.
I do think
They
though
actually have a lot. Sorry. I
yeah,
think there is a lot of Japanese content creators out there that is not very famous, but I've seen quite a few, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I found some channels that like they have a few thousand followers, and they produce pretty decent content and stuff. Some of it like you're kind of screwed over if you don't understand Japanese very well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because like I know I watched some of Nala's videos where it's like literally all they do is like quiz rule questions, and I watch those because those are interesting. Because I understand enough to understand what they're talking about and like what the questions are and what the answers and the explanation of why. So those are really cool, and I kind of like whatever YouTube recommends me from there for JP stuff. I kind of like digest it through that. But yeah, I do hope very much that for the English speaking community, that a lot more content creators get on board and stuff like that. Like Dean and we did a lot of content creation for Weiss, and when Dean showed me the physical version of Shadowverse, I quickly fell in love with it after like literally one night of playing. I was like, this game is really fun, but at the same time I was like, I'm not going to invest in it until there's an English scene, because as cool as this game is playing in Japanese, I know for a fact we're going to have zero scene here in America. So I got so hyped once the English one came out and everything like that. But yeah, yep, just very hopeful for the for content creation to get much bigger for the community as the game grows, which will be fun. I've seen a lot of people start dipping their toes in, and if anyone here is watching and thinking about trying content creation, like, don't worry about being perfect. It's more, the hardest part is starting. Just make something, even if it sucks.
Just make something. Yeah. If it sucks, just say next video will be a little bit better. That's your only goal. That's why we have the shaky cam video. We got some bad ones.
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't have any proper equipment. I have a broken phone. This phone is, I don't know if I can show you on screen. It's okay, maybe too much sensitive information, personal information, but it's broken. So I use a second-hand phone which is broken, and I record my game. So you can start anywhere. In fact, I actually have a guide on how to. If you want to record a tournament, I have a guide in Shintoverse as well. You can have a look, and you don't really have to spend much to start content creation. The best thing is always to start somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, literally, like, I think some people stun lock themselves into being like, I have to make my first video perfect, otherwise I'll have no one to follow, or like no one will like watch my content. But honestly, just start off like, you're not gonna get 1 million views overnight, like on your first video. You make something that you like and you enjoy, and you talk about the thing you enjoy or whatever, and put it out there. People will find it. You advertise it everywhere or whatever. People will find it, and if they enjoy it, they'll follow, and you'll slowly build up that way. Because like originally when I started content creation in Weiss, the whole reason I did it was because I played a lot of MTG at the time casually, but I loved reading all the articles by the pros and watching videos and stuff like that. And when I played Weiss, there was zero of that, especially in English, because when I started playing, it was only Japanese before the English stuff came out. So I just started making deck profile videos on whatever deck I was playing that I like really enjoyed or won at locals or something like that. And then from there, I just like started going like the first, if you look at our original Burn One channel, you can go back to the original videos. They are so garbage. It's just like me on a really crappy camera, like showing you cards and like being like, yeah, I really like this card because it does big damage or whatever, right? But you gotta start somewhere. You can't be worried about your first video or article or whatever being perfect, because then you'll never start and you'll never get anywhere. So yeah, that's like the biggest thing for people getting a content creation. Just literally do something. Don't sit there and like be worried about how good the content is. Just do it, and you just improve on that over and over again until you get something you love. And then and at that point, like, I think the following will come with it. All right, we got off on a kind of tangent there.
Makes sense.
But yeah, let me see. Okay, and then this. Oh, I gotta open it up.
There's the YouTube comment, right?
Yeah, do you have it open? There was only, I think there's only one question on the thing. Do you have it, Dean? I can't open it up on my I can't open it up on my screen right now because of how I'm recording everything.
Don't worry, I got you. Comments.
But a bit off tangent, but coming from MTG, right? Do you find this game very tempo-ish?
I feel, pretty much. I think it's just a part of the reason of like, man, why? I think it's because like you're always guaranteed. I think this is a problem with every game that has like guaranteed like some mana or play point system or whatever. Like when you get it for free every time, and it's a resource that just like regenerates and you get it all the time, it feels like the game becomes more very tempo based. Of like you play your big thing, spend your points and so forth. I don't know if that is a limitation to like gaining a play point every turn and you always get everything back like that. Like you're always guaranteed it, and then it maxes out at 10. Because I kind of felt the same way with Hearthstone until like Hearthstone got really crazy. Now like nowadays, I think eventually at some point the game gets like really wacky, but I don't know if that's gonna happen
right now.
Yeah.
So
Every
I'm
time
gonna ask.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask this guy's question. I'll ask you a question. Doctor 678 Diablo ask, why do you not make more YouTube content?
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I think the first problem was money. I think because during that time I was a
Camera
need,
sells
I
money.
would say. Yeah, so I only have access to like 1 2 decks, and some of them are not even up to date during that time. And when you're only on 2 decks, right, your views are very biased towards that 2 decks. So whatever you play is from the two eyes of a sword player and a dragon player. The reason why I got the second deck was because when I play sword, I realized everything I see is from the sword point of view. As you can see from my meta analysis for the first 2 set, it's all looking at dragon from a sword eye of view, looking at haven as sword eye of view. So I didn't have a lot of card to work with. So that's one reason why I stopped doing YouTube, because all the deck profile, all I show is just sword, and then you just upgrade a bit. So not very happy about that kind of content. And at the same time, like recorded match, it just takes too long to edit, because I do a lot of manual adding live and the mana, which you can see sometimes I mess up also. Which is why I stopped doing YouTube videos and I just focus on article. Like Kit was saying, when we first started out, like, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh article actually resonate with me, because you can put a lot more stuff in words, I guess, when it comes to card game. You can't really like explain in words and video sometimes for some stuff. Like the best is to show the graph and show the players the deck, and that actually helps player visualize more on what the meta looks like, or what their deck should looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think when it comes to written form too, you have a lot more control of exactly what is being put out there without having to go through like the editing and stuff like that. Because editing a video and cutting it to pieces and then putting it back together, it can take a long time. But when you like write a draft out, you can reread it, edit it quickly, add what pictures or graphs or whatever you need to like get the point across, and you can be a little bit more precise. Because I know Dean and I, we kind of do a lot of our videos off the cuff, and we're just like whatever, record and we'll just hopefully it works out. So
I know, right? Yeah.
yes, because we don't want to like, since we're doing this more of as like a hobby and just doing it for fun because we love the game and the community. We're not putting a ton of effort in because we're not planning to like you know get $1 million or some crap out of YouTube. We're just doing it because for the love of the game essentially. So definitely like having it in written form, you have a lot more control exactly what you're saying and everything like that. And you can work on it on the side at any point, then leave, then come back. It's a lot easier than like us
Yeah.
recording a video, because we'll have to sit down, we'll spend like 2 hours to record a 40-minute video or something like that, which is it gets rough sometimes. So I totally understand that, at least.
Oh, well, do you mind if I do a shout out for another channel, because I find that his gameplay video is quite nice.
Yeah, go
Go
for it.
for it.
I think it's by Juno Enthusiastics. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Is by one of the Discord member called Juno something one. Ah, shit.
Oh,
Sorry.
I think I know who you're talking about. Let me look it up really quick.
I lost that YouTube channel, but his video
Juno's Enthusiast, and he goes by Bloodlust or something like that.
yes.
Yeah, I'll include that in the more information as well. Yeah, I was actually gonna reach out to him next, probably pretty soon. But I
Yeah,
know what
you
you're talking
should.
about, because he had some commentary videos about his matches, and they were very, very informative and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Mm-hmm.
but I've not seen any other articles writer for EN community yet, right? Have
No,
you all seen
yeah,
any
I
other?
haven't seen the articles. A lot of people just like to do YouTube and stuff nowadays. Um, yeah, hopefully there's more like written article stuff, because I really enjoyed reading your stuff, Shinto. It was very cool to like see, at least from your point of view and early on, what all those things. So I do enjoy like reading those articles and stuff. So hopefully some other people get out there and do more articles. And like your most recent one too was very like fun to read and everything. And then yeah. All right. Do you
Hopefully someone else do it so I can retire from doing
Yeah.
article. Well, I mean, I don't think I'll be retiring soon from all this because the thing is I've just started uni, so I'm not very sure how much time I have on my hand to still keep up in this community. So maybe this is a PSA for whoever want to do content, just go ahead. You want to take my stuff uh from my WordPress, just take it. To be honest, everything up to this point, like all the cards translation, everything is all thanks to everybody's hard work in the Discord. You know, it's a community effort. Nothing is owned by anyone, to be honest. Yeah.
No, yeah. Early on for us, like we said too, like the whole Shadowverse Evolved Discord and everything was so helpful, and all the translations they put out and everything made life easier for everyone. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Dean, you said you had a question, or?
Oh yeah, I have to ask. Have you played since the mini came out? The mini expansion?
Oh, in digital, right?
Ooh, yeah. Usually for me is I finish the first 2 week of grinding for a grandmaster and I'll just leave it.
And you
Then
just
I leave
leave
the
the
game.
entire. You never do the battle pass.
Yeah, I just play dailies for the rupee, you know,
So-
just to ensure.
Have you played since the mini expansion?
Mini expansion I've played. Don't really like because I was playing Ghost before that, Ghost Shadow, and then Ghost Shadow just dies out right now. I still haven't found a deck to my liking to grind for dailies.
Oh,
I'll be playing unlimited.
wow, actual cursed meta. That's very powerful of you. I was gonna ask what your favorite deck was after the mini, but what's your favorite unlimited deck? Let's hear it.
Current. To be honest, right, unlimited is very
It's awful.
crazy.
I grinded a GM last expansion. I can't do it again. I did it with Heel Haven.
Oh, Hill Haven. The thing is, I've played like 25 seasons of the Grandmaster for both format.
He's better than me. He's definitely better than me. That's a lot of seasons of Grandmaster.
I've not missed a single season of Grandmaster
That's insane.
since the game come out. Yeah, since Grandmaster came out, I've not missed a single season of Grandmaster. And for unlimited, I think my favorite would be the Lot Autonomy, which is a meme in the card physical card game right now. Lot Autonomy deck. I think for rotation, I'm still liking the Control Sword with the Tiger, which blocks 2 damage, right? Yeah.
Okay, Galdar.
Yeah, I'm not good with names. I only know the effects. You know, because I come from a background where most of the card game here are Japanese, so we never really remember the name. We only need to know, oh, this card does this effect. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that card too. I've been loving the pirates, the condemned stuff, because you got
But
the
the
new
pirate-
loot card. You got the new loot card.
Yeah, but pirates are having issue because I all of a sudden do not know how to play the deck. It feels very different from Tempo.
It is different. You can like deal 20 damage out of hand on turn 8 now, so it's pretty cool.
Jesus, that's a lot of
Pretty
damage.
cool.
Actually, now I think about it, right? What do you all think of Dragon? Like, what's your point of view? Why Dragon is so broken in BPO1?
In physical, because you
Yes.
have the strongest card in the game called Genesis Dragon, where they gave it 10-12, and for some reason you just you go turn 7. Oh, I'm at 9 mana Genesis Dragon, and then you go, oh boy, it's turn 10 Genesis Dragon.
I
And the
mean,
game
to be
is over.
honest, the digital version I think was 9 mana 9/11 with
It was 10 mana 7-9,
or 7/9
and now it's a
young.
9 mana 10-12.
That's
a hell of a buff. It's a hell of a buff.
What about Kit? What's your view on why Dragon is broken?
Oh my god. Well, first of all, Shenlong is really stupid right now.
Shenlong is really
Yeah.
Yeah.
But generally, like the Dragon game plan, which I mean, like every card game that has some kind of resource like that, where you can get it for free and get a turn ahead, it feels really busted. As long as there's cards around it that are good enough to compete, and usually, at least right now, like all of the top end of Dragon is very powerful. They all do something that impacts the board or like does immediate damage to your opponent. So like you could not, like, kind of what Dean is saying too, like you could not play Genesis Dragon at all, but people have to be sit there and be like, oh, they're at 9 mana next turn. They could have Genesis Dragon, so I'm forced to play around this card. I'm not even 100% sure they're running. And like it gets pretty disgusting because I already think Forte is a disgusting card right now. And then
Forte has that line of text called Aura, and suddenly you realize how much targeted removal you have in your deck. And you go, oh no, I can't get it. And you go, Evo attack, and they go Blazing Breath. And you go,
Yeah, I mean, the original attacks were in Intimidate, right? For Forte in the digital.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I wrong? Should Blazing Breath not deal 4 damage? I think it's pretty bullshit that it does.
Okay, Blazing Breath is like kind of overstated for.
I think it should deal 3. I think I was thinking when it's like killing my like evoed like elf or something. I'm playing Forest, and I don't have a way to hit the Forte other than evoing trying to attack it, and I'm getting hit with removals. But I'm like, bro, I don't think your 1 mana removal spell should be killing my 4 mana card.
Also, what's really dumb is I started playing a Runeless recently, and I tried to Wind Blast someone when they attacked me, and they said that doesn't have Quick, and I'm like, what? And I looked at the card again. I'm like, why does Dragon's version have Quick, but this one doesn't? And it seems it's like hard to turn it on.
Why is it so hard? Like Wind Blast is like you gotta have 10 spells engraved before it works, which means you can only play it in spell boost. You can't play it in a normal deck. You gotta play it in spell boost only. It doesn't have Quick. Dragons is a Quick. It always works every game. You could play it in any deck. Any deck puts Blazing Breath in. It's literally just a better Angelic Snipe 1000% of the time. Meanwhile, Runes is like you have to play Angelic Snipe because your like on class removal sucks.
I mean, it's true. It's true. They nerf a lot of the Runecraft cards. Like there's this Magic Missile, right? It became 3 mana, deal 2, quick, draw a card. It was 2 mana, deal 1, draw a card. The thing is,
and it could hit face. It could hit face, and now it can't.
Yeah.
Also big.
And to be honest, it needs to be at 2 mana to boost the D-Shift because D-Shift doesn't have any 2 mana. There's a remover and draws. That's why D-Shift right now is a bit slower than I think. In my opinion, D-Shift could have been faster if not for the rune nerf. Yeah.
You can argue that Penguin forces removal out of your opponent, so it's kind of like removal.
Penguin is a tank. It's a 2/5.
You put them on the board and they have to attack them. They literally, I feel like you have to attack the Penguin because the Penguin's sitting on the board, and like it's like, are you really gonna let them discard next turn, or are you gonna deal 5 damage into it?
The thing is there's only a few cards that can kill the Penguin. You know, Man Bane. It's damn hard to kill that Penguin. The Penguin is super irritating. Might as well make it like the Yu-Gi-Oh version where Evolve just bounce 1 card, Penguin Soldier. Also, in my article I theorized that actually Shadowverse is not very good for aggro players because they move the evolve point from 4 to 3. And actually, they make all the 3 costs very, very strong, especially in BPO and BPO2. And what do you all feel about it?
Oh, I also think that the big problem is like when you play an aggro deck, like because like the Evo orb goes like down and you're able to Evo literally every turn of the game. I feel like the aggro decks. I also think it's because like they've buffed all of the numbers across the board, right? Like Goblin's a 2/2. Okay, well, but the problem is that we have like heal 5s. I feel like Digital didn't have heal 5s. There wasn't like
until very late. Yeah.
I mean, like I know we're in the age of Digital where we do have heal 5s on like Anangrea and like Howling Demon, but
I mean also the start in Digital too. Like you're capped at 20 health, and now it's in Digital you can get higher. In the physical game, you can go as high as you want right from the start.
Yeah, and I've every time I've played an aggro deck, I'm like, I don't know if it's just like we don't have the tools or like what, but I never have enough reach. my opponent, it's like a couple turns in, and suddenly they have like they heal 5, and then they have like some like massive ass ward, and then my deck explodes and I die. I do think that like aggro is not very good, and that I don't know fully what it is. I don't know if it's the Evo orbs, because going first feels terrible when I play aggro. I think it's like I always want one more card in hand. I think it's also part of the mulligan. The mulligan sucks a lot. It's like unbelievably bad. Because like when you don't like your hand, when you put the bottom. Because like, if you think about it, actually, I think I argued it favored aggro. But the more I've played, I think it just like, I think aggro is just as susceptible to it as anything.
Yeah, because you can't. It's not like digital where you get 3 cards and then you mulligan and keep whatever cards you want and then get rid of the other ones and then redraw. And so you're forced to like redraw your entire hand.
And you get a random hand of 4 cards again, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go, so if you're playing aggro abyss, you can't go, okay, I got Mr. Skeletal and I need the Ambling Wraith. You gotta go, I might have Mr. Skeletal, but I need the other one. So are you just gonna like mulligan the hand and hope you get the Wraith and the skeleton, or do you like what do you do, right? In digital, you'd be like, oh, I have one of the 2 pieces, right? So I do feel that the mulligan is like very awkward, especially like for the aggro decks as well. Like it hurts, but the aggro deck needs to have the fast tempo. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. This is a weird one. This is a weird one, actually.
No, I think you're right. I think the theory is that, for aggro and tempo, that you need the mana curves. You don't 1, 2, 3, 4 nicely. But compared to control decks, I just need to have that Angelic Snipe, or I just need the board white remover. So if I mulligan 4, I draw 4. As long as I get one of the board remover, I can recover. You get what I mean? So I think you're onto something there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. This went incredibly longer than I thought it would by an entire. I thought we were going to be done an hour, but we just been talking and having a lot of fun. We're up to 2 hours now. We're going to have to call it quits here. I like to say, first of all, Shinto, I am so thankful you came on and graced us with your presence. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, sometime later we might get you back again for a little fun discussion. It'll be a lot of fun. But besides that, I'm Kit, as always, for the Burn One Showers Evolve channel, and then Dean here as well as my co-host.
Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so fun. At least I have something to do on my Sundays.
Yeah. So do you have any shout outs you want to do, and any of your social media you want to throw out there for people to find? You let us know. Shout it out now.
I mean, other than the few creators that I've mentioned, I think that's about it.
All right, awesome. Well, with that being said, I'll include a link to your WordPress, your blog or whatever, in the YouTube more information section and stuff. I'll go through and try to grab the links to the other YouTube channels that you mentioned on here and throw it up in there as well, so people can find those people as well. Besides that, once again, thank you so much, Shinto, for joining us, and hopefully everyone else that made it this far, if you enjoyed content like this, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It does, fuel us to work harder and do more content when possible.
Support them. They are making content. I mean, I'm about to retire from content making, so support this Burn One. Yeah, they are doing very, very good job, to be honest. In fact, I wish Europe will sponsor you guys, so you guys can come up with more stuff, to be honest.
Honestly, thank you. That's so nice of you to say, even. With that being said, well, guys, we'll see you guys in whatever next video you guys watch of us. Later, everyone.
See you.